So next, we're going to hear from Evan Tana, who's VP of Product Management at Shopkick. Evan, if you want to come on out. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So Shopkick, very interesting model. I'm going to let you get into this. So, you know, we've talked in the past, and also to Tristan earlier, about some of the challenges with check-ins. And a lot of people are talking about moving into the concept of an automatic check-in. That's one of the tenets of the Shopkick model in kind of lowering those barriers. But I'll let you talk about it. I'd like to hear or have you tell this audience just a little bit about Shopkick's kind of history and where you sit now, just the basic model, and then we'll kind of get into specifics.
Sure. So we're the youngest of the three companies up here. We've been around for 2 years now. We're just approaching our 2-year anniversary. The service Shopkick has been live for just over 11 months. We launched last year, mid-August. And in a nutshell, for consumers, it's the very first service that rewards shoppers simply for walking into a store. We'll get to how we do that. But fundamentally, we're aiming to dramatically improve the offline shopping experience. And what users are able to do is go to our retail partners, walk into a store, be rewarded for being there with our currency, which we call kicks, and turn those into rewards that they can use at all of our participating partners. For our retail and brand partners, what it essentially boils down to is it's the very first cross-brand, cross-retailer rewards program or coalition network that can drive foot traffic and increase basket size for shoppers that are visiting your store.
So I want to get into some of the aspects of that model and your retail partners. First, walk us through the process. If I'm a Shopkick user and I have the app and I walk into Best Buy, what is the process of being rewarded for walking in, getting some of those initial kicks, and then also some of the other things around redeeming some of those awards, either at that store or some of your other companies in your retail partner network?
Sure. So I think we'll get into 2.0 and we can talk about what direction that takes us in. But if you're just talking about the experience at the store, user walks into a store, fires up the Shopkick application. The application itself is able to confirm and detect the users within the retail store, award them with points, and you get a fun little animation with a bubble that pops up that gives you maybe 50 kicks or 100 kicks or whatever it might be. And then really that's where the experience starts. And we haven't fleshed that out completely, but the entire tenet here is up until now, the only time that a retailer really knew that you were there was when you swipe your credit card, which is precisely the wrong time to start the conversation. It's like, hey, Mike, thanks for buying a lot. See you later, right? What you want to do is start that conversation when the user walks into the door. And really, the currency has proven to be a really powerful incentive to get people to start that conversation with the retailer and the brand. So we present users with relevant offers there in the store, and then have them sort of go along the way and hopefully buy more than they were before.
Now, so this also involves hardware that is installed within the store of its retail partners, which is something, I guess, to my next point that is somewhat impressive in terms of what you've done. A lot of the companies in this quote-unquote check-in space or location-based services have kind of started out with a user-facing product that has a lot of fun elements, but a business model that's kind of TBD. You guys have almost kind of reversed that, but you have all of these retail partners out of the gate, which not only, I mean, it's hard enough to kind of get that going, but also when you're talking about installing hardware within their location.
Right.
So, I mean, how did you do that is my question, and what was your value proposition? I mean, I know what it is anecdotally, but what was your message to kind of get to the point you're at now?
Sure. So I'll start with the value proposition for the retailers. It was fundamentally drive more foot traffic and incremental foot traffic. In the online world, conversion rates are low percentages, below 1% sometimes, right? In the offline space, just getting somebody into your door, very high conversion rates. So if you can drive more people, and if the average visit per year is 2.5 and Shopkick can drive to 3, that's a really big deal. So one, it was drive more foot traffic. And how do we do that? We do it by rewarding people for being there. 2 was increase basket size. So while somebody's there, get them to spend more. And that's where delivering relevant deals while somebody's actually in your environment is how we do that. So how did we get here? It's actually one of the funnest things about the story, just because when we started the company, we had this vision that we could do it. We had no idea how we'd get there. One important piece was this proprietary hardware that we built and now have deployed at 2,700 stores in just 11 months at over 10 partners. and we can get into that if it makes sense. But fundamentally, the reason that was important, and when we started the company, we didn't have a solution. We just knew we needed to solve the problem, was our entire system is built around this currency, and that's monetary value that a retailer or brand is sharing with the customer. And the last thing they want to do is reward a customer who's not actually there in the store. And as many of us know from our experiences with other location-based services, GPS is great for certain things, and I think it's wonderful for the social use case. But it doesn't work in the retail environment when you're actually trying to drive real foot traffic.
Now, are you detecting how granular you're getting? Can you tell which aisle someone's in?
So it's not granular to the point of like, I know exactly where you are in the store. It's about crossing a threshold, right? So I know when somebody's walked in,
so it's a binary,
and I know when they're out.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. So I have here some of your retail partners. When you were talking, it struck me too that, I made the point earlier that we're focusing maybe too much on customer acquisition and not loyalty. So I mean, you guys are really living that. I mean, there's no acquisition play here at all.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I wouldn't say there isn't any. Part of what we've had to sell our partners on is the fact that they're joining a coalition network. You can imagine our early conversations were all about exclusivity, white labeling the service, and fundamentally joining this should improve the experience across the board, right? So there is an acquisition play because I may be a heavy Macy's shopper and I might go to Best Buy once a year, but because Best Buy is participating, there's re-engagement for a low-active Best Buy user, but maybe also just introducing me to a new store like West Elm that I've never been in.
Are the kicks transferable within the retail partner network?
They are.
Okay, and then you also have some kind of charities that you're associated with that people can donate?
Yeah, so the rewards can be spent in a lot of different ways. We allow people to donate them to charities, spend them across the entire network, and right now it's kind of a given, but I can tell you early days it was a much harder conversation to have with our partners.
Yeah. Now, what are the I don't know, verticals or product categories that you currently shine in, and where are you looking to grow that? Because I can imagine there's a challenge that you're kind of walking a fine line with lots of different types of purchase behavior. You buy a flat screen television with different frequency and with different kind of a longer purchase funnel versus a cup of coffee or a pair of jeans or some of the lower consideration items. What's that challenge in terms of bringing together all these things, especially when these kicks are transferable?
Well, we've been fortunate in that our current set of 10 partners fundamentally have similar problems. So we've been able to deliver a relatively consistent experience to our end user. As we look forward, there are other categories where what we've done now doesn't exactly match. As an example, we've made a little buzz recently about some of our efforts in the local space. The problems that a local merchant are facing are very different than what Target or Best Buy face, in that they don't necessarily care about foot traffic, because if you're a coffee shop, getting somebody to walk in, your conversion is often 95%, 100%. And what they don't want to incentivize is somebody walking and walking out, right? Because there's not a lot of window shopping, if you will. It's too early for us to really say exactly what we want to do there, other than the fact that we think it's important to the experience, and two, we're making some headway. We recently announced that we're partnering with Citibank to basically fund a trial where we're giving away 1,000 of these shopkick signal transmitters to local merchants in 10 different markets, and trying to understand how that fits. But we definitely recognize that the experience is entirely different than just walking into Best Buy.
So I mean, that's augmenting the kind of business development process that you currently have with 10 major retail partners by just going down market and experimenting with what the SMBs would do with it.
And here's the reason we'd even think about it. From the customer standpoint, when they think about shopping, even though we focus primarily on national partners and retail, and traditional retail, when the customer thinks about shopping, they think much more broadly. And if you follow a shopper around, when they go out and they go to Macy's or they go to Target, more often than not, they're going to stop in at a coffee shop. And that's part of their experience. So there's a lot of logical sort of like cross traffic that we should be driving that we're not today, but that's why we're giving it thought.
So the 1,000 smaller businesses that you've kind of let this trial out to, do you see that as just the beginning? Do you really want to kind of tackle that larger SMB market? And as we were talking about earlier and throughout the day, that's of course a challenging market to tackle. I think you guys have a lot on your side in terms of a very kind of concrete value proposition, which is what a lot of smaller businesses need. They also might be shoppers themselves and see it, in action in the larger retailers and think that they could do that themselves. What are some of the other ways you think you're going to tackle that, huge but very fragmented small business and mid-market segment?
It's as I said, it's still really early for us.
Yeah, sure.
It's in fact too early for us to really understand how we're going to do it.
Right.
I think that the city partnership is a good first step to really understand, one, how customers even react to sort of the incentive program that works at large retailers, and two, from a distribution standpoint, I think we're still trying to figure that out. I think fundamentally, at our core, we're about shopping, and that's the reason we started Nationwide Down. So that'll remain our focus. And really, the local play is a way to sort of supplement the entire experience.
Interesting. Now, we are about out of time, but we didn't go over 2.0 yet, so I guess we can end on this. What I love about this is we talked about the lower barrier ways that you have people checked in automatically. I think 2.0 also then brings in some more manual functions to kind of create a favorite list of stores, so then they're filtered based on what I decided in advance. So you want to talk a little bit more about what that entails?
So we launched 2.0 in May, and another announcement which I just saw up there is just last week we eclipsed 2 million users in 11 months. So we're happy about that.
2 million active users. You were very specific to say that, and I think a metric that a lot of people ignore is not your registered users, but your active users.
That's correct.
Commendation on that.
So we're really encouraged by that. 2.0, I guess, to make a broader point, was sort of our first step toward fleshing out this concept that we have at Shopkick, where shopping really starts from the couch to the cash register. And with 1.0, what we launched, we were very focused on the incentive to walk in and rewards for walking in. But we hadn't really focused on what is that couch mode experience. Because I don't walk into Best Buy every day, and I don't think you all walk into Best Buy every day. But we're constantly inundated with shopping via email, catalogs, whatever else, or friends talking about what they bought. And we're constantly generating intent. So that's part of the shopping experience. And what 2.0 was all about was helping users identify their favorite stores and brands. Because fundamentally, when my shopping world is different than yours, I have a very discrete set of relationships that I have with those retailers and brands. Can we bring that into the house, into the couch, into the office, into the bus stop when you have downtime, just so that we can help you discover new things and ultimately drive you to the store? So it's a very early step, but it was an important one for us because fundamentally we see ourselves sort of existing across the entire shopper arc.
And it's a move towards greater personalization and targeting, which of course boosts that relevance that we keep talking about. Okay, well, please join me in thanking Evan. You'll be around for the rest of the day to talk to people.
Cool.
Thank you.